Previously on Balls.
Telford Vice, hello.
Hey, Telford Balls Radio. How's it going, bud?
All right, yourself.
All good, thank you. All the best for 2013.
And to you.
I don't know. We haven't spoken to you yet this year, so
No.
best wishes. Hope it's going to be a good and successful year for you.
And yourself.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thanks very much, man. Often an interesting start to the year. Tumbled a couple of spots in the ODI rankings after. It's amazing how liquid those ODI rankings are. We're sitting on our bums doing nothing, and we go back to number one when England lose, and now we lose a game against New Zealand, and we drop 2 places.
They are silly things, aren't they? But then most things about one-day cricket are silly, so I don't think we should take it all too seriously. You know, until it comes to World Cups and we're going to mess up another one, then we should take it seriously.
I'm curious to find out, and I'm speaking to other people in the cricketing world as well. I mean, it's going to be an issue again when a World Cup comes, regardless. But I mean, the side at the moment, and their sort of whole new regime they got there, and just their whole new way of handling themselves. Are you feeling a lot more confident that we'll be able to get over that hurdle or get rid of that monkey?
I hope so. And, you know, there is a lot of confidence that will happen. But there is a danger with this whole new approach, and that danger is that they just run out of urgency sometimes. You know, sometimes I get the feeling that the players and the coaching staff think everything will be all right. Don't worry about it. It's the kind of hallmark greeting card approach. And that isn't true, particularly with one-day cricket. You know, Test cricket is all about patience and doing everything absolutely right, and one-day cricket is a bit about being in a hurry, and sometimes it feels as if South Africa are losing that kind of edge. It's a fine balance, of course, between panicking and being in a hurry, and we know that they're good at the wrong half of that balance sometimes, but let's see, we'll see. The Champions Trophy is coming, and that will be a very good test.
Yeah, that's something that we have won before, so it's not like that's going to be an issue. But it's and if you go back through our World Cups in particular, it's almost like moments you can where we weren't maybe. It didn't look like we were expecting the unexpected, where suddenly one player or one performance has taken a game almost away from us, and we've kind of been slapped across the chops by that. I'm thinking about Brian Lara and the West Indies in 1996, and Stephen Fleming when they came over here, and performances like that where it's almost like we went in there not expecting someone to do that to us.
Exactly, and I'm afraid we saw something similar on Saturday in Paarl with James Franklin, of all people, comes in and takes the game away from you. I know the conditions are difficult, but you know they've been out there for an awful lot of overs, and it happens again. So you know it's one game. Let's not get too excited. But it still seems true that South Africa perhaps don't change tack confidently enough in one-day situations.
Yeah. We've got to go into the next game now, the next couple of games without A.B. de Villiers, our skipper. Faf du Plessis has just sort of put his toe in the water in the T20 game. Concerned, do you think it's a massive blow to us, or is our depth good enough to be able to cover?
I think the depth is good enough. I mean, A.B. de Villiers will be missed in any team. You can't take somebody like that out of a side and expect them to be the normal team that they are. But considering who South Africa are playing, I know they've just beaten New Zealand, have just beaten South Africa, but considering that New Zealand are one of the weaker sides, they should be able to get by without A.B. de Villiers. From a captaincy point of view, I don't think it's a problem. Faf du Plessis shares have just rocketed. You know, if you had shares in Faf du Plessis, you'd be a rich man right now.
You'd be going sell right now as well.
Exactly. So, you know, I don't think there'll be an issue. I think he's well respected in his team, and if anything, probably less prone to forgetting, you know, the overrate than AB. So it's not a bad thing in that point of view. But from a batting perspective, yes, he will be a loss, but they should be able to get through without him.
All right, punishment fair?
I think so. 6 overs is a heck of a long way to be off the pace in terms of overrate. 6 overs is a long way. The ICC says we'll give you leeway up to 5 before we make it a serious offence, and anything after that you're in big trouble. So you know, I mean, I sat there watching that game and I thought, why is it taking so long? and it did. It was just beyond the pale. It is something that de Villiers is going to have to come to terms with. You know, he does look a bit like a panicky goose out there sometimes, and he had that look again on Saturday. Yeah. So it's an issue they're going to have to take up with him.
Canox?
Your thoughts on Hashim Amla refusing the captaincy role?
Well, Hashim Amla has, of course, captained before, and he hated it with a passion. You could see it with every passing press conference. He just did not like it, and he's also done it at the Dolphins, and as soon as he became captain, his runs dried up at the Dolphins, and he was big enough to say, I can't do this, I don't want to do this. And so the captaincy of the Dolphins was taken away from him. That was a long time ago. But you do wonder then, why did Hashim Amla accept the vice captaincy? Because that is the vice captain's only job, is to be the captain when the captain can't do it. So it's something, there's a story there, as in, why did Hashim take up this job if he so plainly does not enjoy leadership?
He probably enjoys the, well, maybe for half an hour when he needs to go to the loo on the field. I can handle that, but a full day, nah, not for me.
I don't think so. He's very much an individual kind of person, is Hashim Amla, and you talk about lead by example. That's what he does, but I don't think that translates in the South African context. So I can see why he wouldn't want to do it, but I don't know why then he took up the vice captaincy.
And Telford, your thoughts on AB's replacement, David Miller?
David Miller, certainly he's up there. I don't know why David Miller isn't Justin Ontong, to be completely honest with you. Because I think he deserves a go. And it's interesting that they've gone for David Miller, but let's see. We know he's a quality player. Let's see what he does. I'm not sure he's going to play tomorrow, but yeah, it's an interesting choice. I think people are asking, why isn't Justin Ontong there?
Telford, your thoughts on Quinton?
Quinton de Kock, I think, needs to go off and learn how to keep wicket. I could see he's a fine batting talent, but also he was falling over because his spikes are too short. So that just tells you something about his inexperience. And he got into big issues with Faf du Plessis, who I thought was going to yell at him at one stage because his communication is poor. He doesn't say yes, he says go, which sounds an awful lot like no.
You're going to hear skis one for once in the middle one of these days. Skis, what's here?
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I'm no doubt that he will grow into a fine player, but he's not that player at the moment. And he's jumped the queue ahead of a whole bunch of wicketkeepers. Yes, I'm all for giving prodigies their place in the sun, but for goodness sake, we can see, I don't know, it's not working for me, is the Quinton de Kock experiment.
Do you think there might be I'm listening to a bit of background to his sort of rise up to where he is now. He's had issues with people like Ray Jennings, and he's obviously a kind of an outspoken young guy, very
feisty character,
backs himself to the hilt, obviously knows that he's got the talent. But they say in any sphere, whether it's sport or something, if you're a new guy, you've got to actually build your credibility first before you start taking a few steps out of the the boundaries. Do you think that maybe he might be jumping the gun a little bit on that front?
I think he is, and I think he's being aided and abetted by this. Because he's going to have himself with it. And people draw comparisons to the Mark Archer situation. Well, if you go back to the Mark Archer situation, it wasn't keeping 2 and 3 other guys. It was him and Nick Potters who were in competition in the South African team. And they were pretty much far, and you could have a rousing old debate as to who should be there. So this is not the same thing, and I wish people would stop bringing that up. It's not that. So, yes, I don't not like Quinton de Kock. I just don't think he should be in the South African team at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we say, maybe get the credibility going, and there's nothing better than to bring someone down to earth and maybe saying, listen, go and sit out, think about it for a while, and go and perform at domestic level and change a few things, and we'll bring you back. I think that might change a few. But look,
when it comes to batting, he has been performing.
Yeah,
at
domestic level. But let's just see. I mean, it's still early days for him. I did get very excited today driving down some of the streets of Joburg and seeing the billboards up and the posters for February 1st to 5. I'm actually kind of, let's get the New Zealanders out of the way now. I want Pakistan to come. I'm really looking forward to that series.
They're always a wonderful team, and I know it's a cliche, but it is true. You're never quite sure who's going to turn up. They have been a bit more consistent lately, which is almost bad news, because it was wonderful not knowing who's going to turn up. But yes, a great side, and of course they haven't been here since 2007.
Yeah.
It was the last time they played. Only 3 players in that squad who were here in 2007 come again, so it's pretty much a whole new team. And it's going to be interesting. The one thing that separates Pakistan from the other subcontinental sides, as a general rule, is that they have decent bowlers.
Yeah.
And so South Africa can't just make it green and everything will be okay. They've got to remember that Pakistanis can bowl.
Yeah.
So that's what evens things up for them. And of course, Syed has bowled. We'll see him for the first time as well in this country.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this person likes ball and bounce. So let's see what he does.
Looking forward to seeing young Irfan and Junaid in action. Those 2 young, exciting young fast bowlers from a world cricketing point of view. It's going to be, I think, the best fast bowling display we've seen in a long time on show in the series. Telford, I think we kind of seem to be losing you slowly but surely, that signal, but I think we've managed to get through everything. Thank you for joining us again. As we say, have a great year. Look forward to catching up with you again on Balls in the not too distant future.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
bud.
Telford.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, Telford.
Here we go. Telford Vice on Balls Radio this afternoon.
This is Balls Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate, and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Balls.co.za.